I like math, but trigonometry never made sense. I've heard this line all the time, and it really bothers me as a former math teacher. Even the people who really like math often don't learn trigonometry well in school. So over the last 2 months, I created a game that will help you learn trigonometry and actually understand it. Whether you're a game developer, you need to learn trigonometry for school, or you're just curious, my unit circle game is the best way to get started or reinforce what you already know. In this video, I'll talk about why trigonometry is so hard to learn in most classroom settings, how my game fixes a lot of those problems, and what you can do to actually learn trigonometry using my game. I'll link my game in the description. You can play it for free in the browser. There's also a $2 purchase option, which unlocks more options in the game. Any purchases go directly to supporting my channel, so I'd really appreciate it if you learn something from the game. When I learned trigonometry in school, I was given this picture and told to memorize it. I would be quizzed on it one single time. I got a 100, but do you think I really remembered anything? No, no I didn't. It wasn't until much later that I learned trigonometry properly when I was working as a professor's assistant. They told me that they had never even seen the unit circle before, and instead they had learned about three right triangles. And this is where I learned where the problem was. The unit circle is a way of displaying all the three right triangles in all the possible ways it could be flipped and moved around. It's not the best place to start because it has all this extra information. It's no wonder people are confused. Trigonometry is the study of triangles, and we're over here looking at circles instead. So when making my game, I had two choices: abandon the unit circle entirely and bring the focus back to triangles, really where it belongs. Or I could simplify the unit circle and still use it, but lose a little bit of focus on triangles. To make that decision, I had to decide what I wanted players to learn. And the thing that really holds people back is remembering where all the angles and side lengths are. So I decided to make a memory game using the unit circle because it has all the information in one image and makes things a lot more intuitive. I wanted to make a game that was accessible to anyone, regardless of how much math they know. And I decided on a game that was inspired by that card game called Memory. For those who don't know, Memory is a game where you flip cards to reveal images on the back of the cards. And what I did was I added one prompt at the top of the screen that's always visible, and then you try to match it on the circle. Eventually, you start to learn where everything is, regardless of how much you knew at the start. You can learn everything the game wants you to learn just by playing. And to add a little bit more fun into the mix, I decided to add a time attack mode. You shouldn't compare your score to mine, though. I've played it a lot. After mastering the concepts in the unit circle game, you have an idea of where all the angles are located on a coordinate plane, and you have some idea of sine and cosine. But where do you go from there? I think whatever resource you decide to learn from, you're going to find it's going to make a lot more sense than it did when you tried it in school and was trying to memorize and learn at the same time. I'll post some helpful links in the description of places that I think you should go if you want to continue to learn trigonometry. But in general, here are the things that I think you should focus on learning next. I think the first best thing that you can do is review all the basic definitions of the trig functions and try to relate them back to what you learned in the game. Then you could focus on things that you didn't learn in the game, but that you have a better grasp on because of the foundational knowledge. And the most important thing is to find a real world problem that you can apply what you learned to. That way, you really won't forget anything that you learned. My favorite real world use of trigonometry is creating visually animated shaders in Godot. I feel like I have so much control over the effects because I understand the functions that are creating them. But you can also use trigonometry in physics, audio, vector manipulation, and so much more. Are you interested in making your own game? Click here to learn more about sustaining motivation throughout your development process.